If you're an entrepreneur or an online business owner, or you're working toward that, and you happen to find yourself in an interesting worldly situation that makes it quite difficult to do business right now. By the way, this video is being published right in the beginning of the 2020 world crisis. And yes, I am quarantined at home, much like the rest of the world right now. But yeah, so in times like this, you can have one of two approaches. The reactive entrepreneur approach. Oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? We have to sell everything right now. Or the proactive entrepreneur approach, the opportunistic approach, the what does this make possible approach. Whatever camp you're in, well, I'm here to help. So I'm gonna share with you 5 things that you should be leaning into right now in this time of crisis that I'm leaning into as well, so we can all come out better on the other end of this. If that sounds good to you, hook me up with a thumbs up really quick. All right, thank you, and let's get started. Number 1, creating more valuable content. People are still buying things, yes. However, there are a lot of people who are saving their money during this moment in time, which is why we do have an opportunity to still be there as content creators. Maybe that means writing more or creating more videos, or perhaps it means starting a podcast or doubling down on the podcast that you have. If it's anything like what's going on right now, then likely you have a little bit more time than you did before. The project that you knew was great, but you just didn't have time for before, well, maybe you do have the time for it now. Lately, my team and I have been doubling down on written content to help you through a lot of work at home type situations, which a lot of the world's doing right now. And even though my podcast, the Smart Passive Income Podcast, comes out every week, we created some emergency podcast episodes based on certain situations that are happening right now too. My CFO, Matt Gartland, for example, came on the show to talk about how to run business, finances, and talk to team members during this kind of crisis. That wasn't in our normal plan, but we had some time, so we doubled down and we made it happen, and a lot of people really appreciated the extra content to listen to. We also created an emergency resource page to help entrepreneurs who are going through the crisis right now too, and there we have a lot of courses that we've made free and books, as well as resources from other partners that we work with to help people in this space right now. Me too, I've brought my video studio home and I was able to start filming a lot more YouTube videos for you here on the channel. And in addition to that, I'm actually going live, broadcasting live every single morning here on YouTube at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. And that is partly because I wanna show up, I wanna hold myself accountable to waking up and serving you. But at the same time, it's also giving me a ton of practice on how to run a live stream. So whatever the case may be, you can get started on something new here and practice and get better. So on the other side of this whole thing, you'll be a pro and that much more fine-tuned with it. So what I would recommend is check out your editorial calendar, the blog posts, podcast episodes, videos that you thought you were gonna come out with for the rest of the year or at least through summer, and see what you might do to rearrange that or add something else new should you have the time to do that. All right, next, number 2, updating products, courses, and older content. We just talked about creating new content, but you can also update and optimize the content that is already out there, whether it's free or premium. One thing that I'm doing personally is I'm going into my online courses and updating the content that's there, making it even more up to date than it already was, partly because I have the time, but also because I wanna let the students know, the paying customers that are there, that I'm still here, that I'm showing up, and I'm still giving them something of value. So that way, number 1, they stick around, and if you happen to have a membership website, this is a perfect time to lean into your community as well. But secondly, on the other side of this, you're gonna be one of the few that's showing up to those people so that when the economy comes back, then perhaps they're gonna be willing to spend more money with you versus the other person. As far as free content, maybe you have a lead magnet that could use some updating, or you have some old blog content that's ranking maybe on the bottom half of the first page or second or third page of Google. You could spend some time updating those posts and potentially climbing higher in the rankings. This is a great time to get behind the stuff that was working before and make it work even better. Number 3, cutting expenditures. This is a prime time opportunity for you, especially while we need to be perhaps a little bit leaner in our business right now, to cut the expenses, to cut the fluff, to cut the weeds out. Especially when times are going great. Sometimes we subscribe to a bunch of things or we get a lot of programs or software that we continue to pay for that perhaps we don't necessarily need anymore. This could also be a great exercise to lean on your team to help you determine, well, what do you require and what do you not require anymore to still keep the business running? I know a lot of business owners right now that are working with their team to develop better systems, thus cutting out things that they might not need anymore, but not just an expenditure that you're cutting, but also time that you're wasting. So cut out the things that you don't need anymore in terms of things that you're paying, but also where your time and your team's time is going to. Are the things that you have been doing actually required to keep your business afloat? It's time to lean out and lean in. Also, a quick side note about something that's sort of happening right now, although if you're watching this in the future, it could still work out for you. A good friend of mine, Ramit Sethi from iwillteachutoberich.com, did a live stream the other day talking about how other businesses that we might be subscribed to, like our cable bill or our phone bill, how they're really, really working hard to hang on tight to their customers. Thus, you could reach out to them and perhaps negotiate a lower fee. I'm going to link to an article below that'll be helpful for you from Ramit, but you could definitely use this opportunity to cut on your personal expenditures as well. Maybe if you use a company phone, for example, you could do it there too. Either way, check out the link below from Ramit. It's a great article that can help you save loads. Check out the link below, and I promise you that'll help. And of course, at this moment in time, every little bit counts. Fourth thing that you should be leaning into, especially in times like this, is transparency. Whoa. Marty! No, not that kind of transparency. I mean transparency as in being honest and upfront with everybody who deserves it. So being honest with your audience, I think it's really important to understand not just where they're coming from in your messaging and your marketing. For example, we were right in the middle of a Power Up Podcasting. It's my premium course to teach you how to podcast. We were right in the middle of a launch, right when all this started happening. So mid-launch, we sent some emails to let people know, hey, we're very, very aware what's happening. We are pulling back our marketing. We're not going to send you a bunch of emails every single day to promote this. However, we will still be promoting this, and you'll see an email on the last day before this deal goes away. Should you happen to want to take advantage of this deal later, and you can't right now because of the current circumstances, we completely get it. Reach back out to us later, and we'll honor those bonuses and the discount. So people responded really, really well to that. And I think it just showed empathy. It showed a little bit of just understanding, and being sure to not be tone deaf in this situation is really important. I also think it's important to be honest with your audience in terms of how your business is doing during this time, because you can have a couple things happen as a result of that. Number one, the surprises sort of go away, right? And you can be upfront with people and almost give kind of warnings in case something might happen, in case you have to perhaps reduce staff, or you have to increase the wait time for customer service. Like letting people know why that stuff's happening allows for a little bit more wiggle room when that's the case. Of course, we never want to get to that level. And on one hand, you might go, well, maybe I can just, keep everybody on as long as possible. But then if you do that, you don't let people know, all of a sudden, boom, perhaps your staff is gone, you cut their hours, customer service hours are crazy. You've got a lot of angry people who just were expecting one thing and getting another. So being honest and upfront with your audience is really important in that way too. But in addition to your audience, you need to be really upfront with your team members too. If you have a team, you really need to let them know what's going on and how you're feeling, but also you're hopefully letting them know that you're doing everything in your power to make sure things stay afloat. It might be tough to make some of these decisions, and before you make these decisions, try to talk it out with people and reason with them, or at least come up with different scenarios so that you can understand what it might feel like on the other end. Back in 2008, when I got laid off, my boss told me every day during the recession when it was starting that everything was going to be okay, that they weren't going to lay us off, and guess what? It happened. So to be told one thing and then have something else happen, I was upset. I couldn't plan, and I was extremely, extremely depressed during that time. Now, I've been working from home since 2008. I've been my own boss ever since getting laid off, and I'll tell you, number one, a huge blessing in disguise, and number two, I've learned a lot of things about working from home. Click on the card over there in the upper right-hand corner. Those are my best tips for how to maximize your productivity here in the house. Not here at my house, but at your house. So yeah, transparency, it's absolutely important, and it's something that you owe, and it comes out of respect. And then number five, especially in a time like this, you need to be leaning into showing up for your team, showing up for your audience, and showing up as a leader. The previous four things we talked about here, especially transparency, do demonstrate great leadership in a situation like this. But I think great leaders and CEOs often look for creative ways to solve problems and lend a helping hand. Number one, people want to hear from you. They want to know that you are understanding of their situation and where they're coming from. Number two, if you have gained an audience for a certain thing, don't stop doing that thing. If you are a YouTuber and you create content on the regular, keep doing that. And again, it doesn't always have to be about the thing that's happening right now. People really appreciate when you give them something to take their mind off of these crazy times. This is partly why, again, I'm going live every single morning, 8 a.m. here on YouTube, so long as this crisis exists, because I want to show up for you, in addition to holding myself accountable to waking up in the morning. And already, we're only 6 days into that right now, and I'm seeing regulars come in, I'm seeing people thank me. I've even had a few emails of people saying it's the only thing that's keeping them sane. People want you to show up and be a leader. So show up and be a leader. That's what an entrepreneur is, a leader. I know times are extremely tough right now. They're tough for me and my family too, as well as my team. but we're doing what we can to stay focused on what we can control and not the things that we can't. What we can control are these 5 things: showing up, delivering leadership, offering service and help to those who are in need right now. And I want to encourage you to do the same. As an entrepreneur, people need you. And remember, people are still buying things. They still want to hear from you. They still need help. If you're in a space that right now it just seems very impossible for you to sell anything, well, you can still build relationships and create authority such that when we come out on the other end of this, which we will, we've always come out of things like this in the past. You'll come out better, stronger, leaner, tighter, and more helpful. So Team Flynn, I just want to encourage you through all the stuff that's happening today. I'm here for you. Come join me live every morning, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. And also hit that like button. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And also leave a comment below. Which one of these 5 things are you going to start with or lean into the most? Content creation, updating products, courses, and old content, cutting expenditures and cutting out wasted time in your business too, being transparent with your audience and your team, showing up. Let me know in the comment section below, Team Flynn. You're amazing. Hit subscribe, catch me in the next video, and every morning, 8 a.m. during this crisis. Till then, love you. Thanks so much. Peace, and as always, Team Flynn for the win.